grab Mel. Let's do this. Hold on one second. First time ever, you know? Okay, here we go. Did it work?
Greetings.
Hey, oh my God.
All on at the same time?
You can do this?
What the heck?
We're in a room.
How did you do that?
Welcome to 2021, Mel. Now you're going to be addicted. You're going to be addicted. The team to get on it.
I just lost my Instagram room virginity in a
Baby,
couple with you two.
it's amazing. What are you doing?
Me? I'm
Just
great.
Sure.
What's that?
I'm sure you're just hanging out.
Just hanging out. Just hanging out.
Nothing.
How are you two?
Oh man, well, welcome, Mel Robbins. So
Well, thank you.
excited to chat with you. I feel like we could do this every day.
Mm-hmm.
That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we just had Mel on the podcast. We actually recorded only a few weeks ago, not even 2 weeks ago. And I just felt so lucky to have you in person here right before the launch of your new book, The High Five Habit, which is just so good. But how are you feeling about everything? I feel like you are so calm, cool, collected on the outside, but like, what is a time like this really like in the life of Mel Robbins?
It's a lot like a duck. You know how a duck is like really smooth on the surface, but underneath their little legs are like, like that's kind of what it's like. I had a conversation with my daughter 2 days ago, who's 22, and her job post college has not started yet. And she literally was like, "I need to express a boundary with you, because you are literally all book, all nonstop, all the time. It is spreading through our household, and I need you to like calm your jets, Mom." And I have to say, I'm really proud of her for expressing her boundaries, because she's like, I know that you're not stressed on the outside, but you made me so I can feel the stress that you feel on the inside. So here's what I'm trying to practice. And I think that this is useful for all of us. It's so easy to hyper focus on the one thing that's not going right and to miss out on all of the just amazing things that are going remarkably well. And you'll have a lot more joy in your life, and you'll be more present if you can really train yourself to kind of just stay focused on everything that's really awesome and all the little wins, instead of hyper focusing on what feels like might be going off the rails. And, you know, honestly, there's actually not a lot going off the rails. But so I feel very, very grateful. And, you know, I'll tell everybody else something else. I have for a long time, I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I for a long time have had the experience of feeling like I'm on the outside looking in. You know, that everybody's part of some great friend group or great big party or some club that I'm not admitted to. And I remember when the 5-second rule got released, we got absolutely no publicity for it whatsoever. And even when I launched a daytime talk show, we could not get press. Like, nobody would talk to us. And I realize now it's because a lot of the mainstream press is controlled by network television. And we were a show that was not launched by a network. So ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC did not create our show. Sony Pictures did. And there were so many other talk shows launching that were created by NBC, ABC, Fox, and CBS that none of them would actually give us any publicity. And I remember thinking when I had a daytime talk show, what the fuck? You mean I'm sitting here taping a show at CBS Broadcast Center, which is where our studios are. We are carried on all these stations around and still, as a 51-year-old woman, I am not invited to this club. I am on the outside looking in. I am, what the fuck? Why am I the bad news bears? Why do I sneak in the back door? Why does everything have to be hard for me? Why don't I have any celebrity friends that actually call in a favor or do any, like, why am I the one? And what I will tell you is absolutely everything in your life is preparing you for something extraordinary. And I kept reminding myself, and I have for years, hey, this isn't about a book. It's not about a show. It's not about an Instagram post. It's not about a party. It's not about this. Every experience of your life is preparing you for something. And it has been, something I write about in the High Five Habit, having a high five attitude, which is anchoring yourself back into optimism, back into belief, back into confidence when you kind of feel like the world is against you, or why are things so hard right now? And I'll tell you, one of the reasons why I'm very grounded at the moment, other than the fact that the High Five Habit has really taught me how to be that way, is I'm realizing that I was fucking right. That those experiences were preparing me. And had I blown the kind of PR thing on a talk show that ended up failing and me getting fired from, we wouldn't be having the outpouring of support for this incredible project. And there's no doubt in my mind that what the experience of being ignored over and over and over again has taught me is that when your time is right, the stars align. Mm-hmm. And your job right now is to put your head down, keep your heart open, and continue to high five yourself forward, because at some moment in your life, it will be the moment where you step up to the plate, and that's when you want to be ready. And if you're a really good person in your core and you're working really hard and you really believe in something that you're doing, eventually the stars align when it's right. And so I feel this kind of weird moment of feeling profoundly grateful and overwhelmed by the amount of support that I'm receiving, because I'm not used to that. I'm also used to, like you two, I'm sure, like, oh, I can do this myself. Oh, I don't need any help, because I don't feel like worthy. I feel insecure asking for it. And so it's this moment of feeling the fact that that mindset actually is true, that every experience of your life is preparing you for something. You might not know why right now, but at some point in your lifetime, you will.
Yeah, I think that's super powerful. And, just while I'm speaking, I would love for everyone in the comments. At the beginning, Mel talked about something like really taking and looking at the things in our life that are working. So I'd love for us all to just in the comments, just writing what is working. Like, is it a relationship? Is it your job feels really good? Is it your health? Is it the weather? It can be super small, it can be super big, but I'd love for you all to share about what's working in your life right now. And
I love that.
Yeah. And Mel, it's so funny because when you talk about that, how it's like everything makes sense when you're at the right nexus of your career. And I've had that happen. And it's so funny because I'm always like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, God or spirit or source. And now that it's worked out, I'm like, thank you so much. You're almost like a little embarrassed because you felt so lost. And then it finally, and it's like, oh, you were right. There was a plan. There was like a, strategy behind everything. And it all seems to make sense. And I feel like you have that calm and that peace, which is so, so powerful. But being along the way, when you didn't know that would all make sense leading up to this project, like what would be something now that you know that it did work out for the highest and greatest good? What would you tell yourself along the way?
Just to keep saying it. I swear to God. Like, I feel like part of the gift of life and why you'll get rewarded is if you can prove to yourself that you, somewhere deep inside of you, you still believe that through your actions and your attitude, you can make a meaningful change happen, or you can launch something, or you can make an impact in your community, or you can turn this thing around, or you can heal yourself. When you kind of cultivate that internal belief inside yourself, that's what I think ignites the magic out in the world of having everything turn out for you. And, you gotta, as hard as it is to not look at everything outside of you in terms of, have I gotten the funding yet? Have I got enough customers yet? Am I making the money yet? Has somebody written an article about it yet? Am I there yet? You can't use those mile markers to measure your own belief. You have to know somewhere deep inside yourself that whatever it is that you're trying to improve in your life or to create from nothing, that as long as you believe in it, that's really where the power comes from. And so, I think that mantra has helped me a lot, just constantly reminding myself, this is not about a book. Because I actually don't feel like this is at all about a book. I do feel that the reason why it took me 5 years to get this book, it took me 4 years to even have the breakdown and to have the breakthrough and the insight to invent the high five habit. And this is also important. Great ideas, great businesses, great nonprofits, great transformational healing takes time. An idea or a business will be born when it is ready to be born. And yes, you have got to put in the work. But the book I would have written 2-3 years ago would have sucked. It would have been forced. And I feel like my life was bringing me back on purpose from coming up with something new to write about and coming up with something worthy of the amount of attention that the high five habit is getting. And it's not even out yet. And this idea has spread around the world. You see, I'm obsessed with equipping people with free tools that are backed by science that anybody can use. And so, if you look at my story or you look at the Instagram account we just created, High Five Habit, you're going to see people around the world already freaking practicing this. Like, it's insane. We had somebody write to us, you two, about they were at an AA meeting in a church basement 2 days ago. And somebody stood up and shared about the high five habit and the difference it was making in their ability as somebody who is fighting to stay sober, to truly meet themselves where they are and forgive themselves for all of the pain and the self-destruction, and to really be able to high five and celebrate and encourage themselves to continue to move forward. And so when I hear that this simple idea of high-fiving yourself in the mirror as a way to silence the critic, as a way to aim all of that positive association with high-fiving other people back at yourself, as a way to amplify the celebratory energy in your nervous system, as a way to give yourself a little dopamine in the morning, it is spreading. And the fact that it could end up in a church basement somewhere where somebody stands up and talks about it, like that, to me is the greatest thing in the world. I really could give a shit if we sell a single copy, if I know that what's really happening out there is people are already seeing the benefit, pushing through the weirdness, and experiencing change, so much so that they're going to stand up in front of other human beings and share an idea that sounds stupid. High five yourself in the mirror sounds stupid. But once you try it, you'll realize the crazy ass science that explains why it works. And, we had this profound conversation. I can't even imagine the feedback that you're going to get from your audience when around people pleasing and confidence and self-love and motivation and inspiration, and the permission that you need to give yourself to believe in yourself and to want the things that you want for your life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the feedback is pouring in, and it's so powerful. And I laughed. I remember laughing during our interview when you said, kind of corny. It's kind of corny, this concept, but it really, really works. And, I started doing it, and I had that like little part of me that was like, I'm like, I do a lot of stuff, but I would love for you to talk about like the simplicity of it too. I feel like we over-engineer these things where we want to do better, be better, feel better, show up more fully, trust ourselves, and we're over-engineering so much. There's a lot coming at us all the time in the self-development space.
Yeah.
So why is this so powerful? And bringing science, of course, is always welcome too. I think that piece is so powerful.
Well, I love the question, and I love all of you that are here with us. And there's two things. First of all, there was this research study done in the UK where they looked at absolutely everything in personal development that you could do to improve your life. Everything from meditation to exercise, to changing your diet, to changing your friend group, to getting a better night's sleep, all of it. Because there's so much you can do that will have a meaningful change and positive impact on your life. But based on all the research, there's one behavior change that profoundly improves your happiness and your fulfillment and your confidence more than anything else that you could ever do. And it is simply having a habit of being kind to yourself. And it's the one behavior change that we practice the least because we don't know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we don't know how to do it. And we also are so programmed to beat the hell out of ourselves and to focus on what's not working and to feel insecure and to tear ourselves down. And so we don't even realize the extent to which we do it until you start to reverse it. And so the beauty of the high five, everybody, this is why it's so freaking crazy. You're actually not trying to put any new programming into your brain. It's already in there. Because you have high-fived people your whole life and you've received high fives your whole life. And so the reason why this is so elegant and so seamless, if you can get over the fact that it's corny and cheesy to do it for the first couple times, is that every time you high five somebody else, you're saying, I believe in you, I love you, I see you, I support you. You've never high fived somebody and thought, you suck, I hope you lose, I hate you. You just have never done it. And so when you physically raise your arm to high five, your brain recognizes the gesture. And your brain then switches to where all your subconscious programming is. That's why your mind goes silent. After feeling weird, you're going to go, this is weird. And then all of a sudden you're going to realize you're not thinking anything because your mind recognizes the high five gesture. So it automatically just grabs the programming. Oh, we know what this is. Every time we do a high five, you get dopamine in your brain. We think, I believe in you, I love you, I celebrate you, I support you. And the nervous system gives me a little feel-good jolt because this is a celebratory action. All three of those things happen in less than 5 seconds. And so, yes, you can feel weird doing it. Yes, you're going to resist it. Yes, because you listen and you like all three of us, you're going to be a little bit like, you three have lost your fucking minds. High five, this is so stupid.
We've lost minds. It's all Mel's fault.
Yeah, like, oh my God, what are they going to do next? You know, like literally that's what you're going to feel because you're so used to tearing yourself apart. And then you're literally going to go and high five yourself. And you're going to feel, I was talking to Jay Shetty yesterday and he was like, Mel, I actually know what you've discovered. He said, there is a light switch inside of us. And most of us live in the dark internally. Our minds are a very dark place. Our energy is a very dark feeling. And what this high five does is it flips this switch inside of you and it lets the light back in. It allows your energy to flow. It allows the belief and the power of encouragement and celebration to come in. And look, I see Align Designs. It made me cry today in a good way when I high five myself in the mirror. And I'll tell you why. The reason why most people either laugh because it kind of feels good, but it's corny, so you laugh, or we hear over and over again people saying, I burst into tears. And the reason why you burst into tears is because you're actually coming home to yourself. And those tears are a release. You have been longing for this support from yourself. In my case, it was decades. And the tears are an emotional release that you finally woke up and got it. That the human being that stares back at you in the mirror is trying really hard and needs you to stop beating the shit out of them and needs you to really love them and encourage them and be kind to them.
I would love to hear, and I just love seeing all your comments. They've been so beautiful, and seeing the comment about, tears this morning. I would love to see whoever's doing the high five habit right now, what your experience has been, what it felt like for you to step in front of the mirror and give yourself a high five, what it feels like to even look at yourself clearly in the mirror, something that a lot of us don't do. A lot of us step in front of the mirror and we immediately criticize or judge or think of all the things that are wrong with us. We do actually take that step and step in front of the mirror for the high five. What have you all been feeling? I know I did it this morning. I've been doing it since we saw Mel. And for me, it's such a indicator and a sign of it's a reminder for me of being my own best friend. I feel like, I'll give high fives to people just in a joking way to have fun. It makes me smile when you're like, high five. So it's almost that reminder for me that I've always got your back. I'm my own best friend, and I'm my own biggest fan, and I'm my own biggest support.
Can
And
I
I
say something real quick? Because I just saw something that I think we want to call out, given the people that follow you. I just saw a comment here that said, my boss, in fact, if I can screenshot this, I need this one. Oh, I don't know how to screenshot a live stream, but somebody grab this because this is incredible. My boss noticed my attitude change and was considering making me a supervisor. So let me tell you what's going on here, everybody. This is really important. Your mood in the morning impacts productivity and focus all day long. And there is this principle in psychology that has a tremendous impact on your work life and on your reputation at work, and it's called emotional contagion. And what they've studied is that if you take somebody who's managing a team and you make them watch really negative, dark, depressing news for 10 minutes, or you put them in a room and they watch videos of puppies and kittens and fun memes, their mood is clearly impacted by the negative or the positive. And when they leave that room and have to go conduct a meeting, within 5 to 10 minutes, everybody in the room in the meeting they're conducting morphs into the same mood they're in. The energy, this is called emotional contagion. When you send yourself into the game of life every morning, just like a sports team does at the beginning of a competition, they huddle up, they set their intention for the day, and then they high five to send themselves into the game with the spirit of optimism that they're going to win, knowing that they have each other's back, knowing that they're in it to play this game and to show up in a certain way, even without saying anything to yourself. The programming is already in your mind. And so as you high five yourself before work, you are resetting your mind, just like you brush your teeth before work, right? Because you got to get that shit out of your mouth from overnight. And you do not want to spread that horrendous breath everywhere. You also have got to get that shit out of your mind, body, and spirit. So you don't walk into work beating yourself up. And, we talked about this a lot on this episode, which you guys, everybody's got to go listen to the full thing. We go so deep. And we talk so much about how your relationship with yourself is the foundation for everything. So it goes beyond your mood. If you can look at yourself and know that you're trying, right? And you got a big presentation today, or you're worried about what your boss thinks, and you know that you've got your own back, you can walk into work knowing that you're going to encourage yourself today. That even if you don't get it all right, even if somebody's a jerk to you, even if you don't finish what you need to do, you're going to still have your own back. And one of the reasons why so many of us are insecure at work, and we're insecure about speaking up in meetings, and we're insecure about asking for a raise, is because we can't even look at ourselves in the fucking mirror in the morning without picking ourselves apart. If you are insecure and judgmental of yourself, you will be insecure and judgmental of yourself everywhere, including work. And so I'm not surprised that the high five habit every morning in the mirror is starting to create a high five attitude. This attitude it doesn't mean you're a bitch or conceited. It means that you actually believe in yourself and your ability to face whatever's going to happen, that you have some compassion for yourself. That's what that attitude's about, that you can figure it out. And so when you start to bring an optimistic attitude to work, research shows you will sell 3 times more than you would if you were pessimistic. You will be promoted faster. You will be considered more of a leader by your peers simply because of your attitude. And this is not something that I made up. This is based on research, not my research. People way smarter than me. I just saw another post of somebody saying they bawled their eyes out when they did it the first time.
Yeah, and a little bit when you're talking about the emotional contagion too, Joe Dispenza talks about something physics called entrainment. And it's pretty much the same thing. When people are vibrating at a certain level, they will figure out a way to match vibration. So it's pretty much like the same of the energy and emotion and feeling. And I think we can all think about on this live, someone in our life or someone at work or someone we know that has a really positive energy or perspective or feels really optimistic or feels like they love themselves, and how much better it feels to be around that person because it gives us hope. It makes us also feel good. And I think having that example too is a good example to remember for ourselves how good we feel around people that feel like they have a great perspective or optimistic perspective on life.
Totally. Like I can say to you two, who's your high five friend?
Lynn.
Who's the high five boss, boss
Chris.
you've ever worked for, right? Who's,
Mhm.
we all want a high five
Yeah.
marriage. We
Mhm.
want high five friendships. We want a high five career. We want a high five health. We want a house. We want a high five life. It's basically a life or a job or a friendship that makes you feel excited to be a part of it, that
Mhm.
makes you feel affirmed, that makes you feel celebrated when you're there. And I don't even have to explain what it means. And we all kind of know what it means.
Mhm.
So, I hear and I see a line design saying, now I need to start high fiving my husband. Yeah, you do. But
Yes.
don't forget that it starts with you. Because
Mhm.
if you're picking yourself apart, you're going to pick apart the other people. If you
Yes.
don't love yourself, you're not going to let that man love you because you're not
Mm,
going to believe that you're worthy of love. So you will pick at him because how could somebody possibly love me if I don't love myself?
yeah. And I love, the last thing I'll say about just doing this every morning, it's like it's a snapshot in my mind that I can refer back to later in the day,
Mm.
get a little rough, in moments. And I'm like, wait, I high five myself this morning. Like there's this humor about it, there's this like joy about it, there's this reminder about it. And what Jay Shetty said, what is so apparent to him that it's letting the light back in, that really, really hit me because I feel like a lot of us put up this guise so that of navigate the world. We put up the walls, we put up the personas and the identities to just kind of navigate and protect ourselves. And what I just love so much about you and what I love about this particular habit is just it slowly just kind of peels back those like shields of armor and reveals this like very beautiful but powerful vulnerability that is just holds you in every moment. And I'm no longer like exhausted by upholding kind of these walls and
Yeah.
personas have you. So it's so powerful, and it makes my heart just burst seeing everyone write that they've already started and that it's already impacted them so much.
Yeah.
um Mel, how can people find the book? I know there's a challenge that they can get involved in. You have such
Oh,
an
great.
incredible
Great.
so
Well, there's a challenge. Are you guys, I think you got to jump on your newsletter list and you got to
Mhm.
jump into the show notes because there's a link to
Mhm.
the challenge in the show notes. And, if you're on their newsletter list, it's a 5-day challenge. It's hosted by Growth Day. What's really cool about Growth Day is it's an app that is normally $300 a year. It's free while you do the 5-day challenge with me. It's 5 days of me literally coaching you and teaching you, and you're going to be with hundreds of thousands of other people doing it. And it launches October 4th. You jump in for free with a name and an email, the high five challenge. You should start high fiving yourself now every morning and teaching it to people you love and your friends and your family. And but we're going to go deeper, 5 days in a row, October 4th through October 8th. And if you see this live stream after that, don't worry, we're going to make it evergreen once it's live. So that's how you can get on it. If you buy the book, I want to tell you something right now. We've got these incredible bonuses because I want to high five you back if you buy the book. And if you go to highfivehabit.com, you can buy any book in any language that the High Five Habit is being published in. It's being published in, I think, 23 languages and counting. It's on Audible. You can buy it at any bookstore you want. Just go to High Five Habit, register your receipt by Monday night at midnight Eastern, and register at highfivehabit.com. And you literally are going to get a 3-hour masterclass with me in October. You're automatically registered in the High Five Challenge, and you get you get this cool micro course about your morning routine. And tomorrow morning we are releasing to everybody who's pre-ordered the book chapter 10 in an audio format as a bonus chapter, as a gift for pre-ordering the book. And it is the Pep Talk Kick Your Ass Uber Driver chapter with Antonio. So if you struggle with procrastination and you need somebody to punch you in the face, Mel Robbins has got your back, and it's going to be in audio as a gift to you if you pre-order the book. So get to high5habit.com and just register your receipt. But there's something else I wanted to tell you guys. And of course, it just flew out of my 53-year-old brain.
That's a lot to remember. I'm like,
That's a lot to remember. There was something else, though. Oh, I know what it was. I loved what you said about the fact that you can refer back to it. You can think about the feeling, because I think all of us, even in this moment, you can close your eyes and remember a teammate or running a road race or a friend giving you a high five and the energy transfer. And so one of the things that I wanted to say is that, you know, the power of this runs so much deeper. And what's super cool about this is I really do think this is going to help everybody's anxiety, and it's going to help you with people pleasing, because so much anxiety is created by the energy that you put into trying to be someone you're not, and trying to fit in, and trying to say the right thing, and trying not to disappoint people. And if you could ever get to the point where you are okay with who you are, I'm not even going for love, just okay. You are okay with who you love, or okay with who you are. And you're also okay with who you're not. You're okay with how tall you are, or how short you are, or what size you are, or what your skin looks like, or what your hair looks like, or where you're banking. You're okay. All the pretending is where the people pleasing and the anxiety creeps in. And there's a level of power that comes from just acceptance, which is where the high five habit begins your journey back home to yourself. Accepting where you are, seeing where you are, forgiving yourself for where you are, nurturing yourself, being compassionate with yourself. That is 1,000% what this is about. And you'll never get to the point, I don't think, where you're a narcissistic, conceited, bitchy asshole. That's not what this is about. The spirit of this is all about making celebration, support, and encouragement part of your day-to-day life. You know, Jay actually said something else that I found to be really interesting, which is, he said, you know, if you think about it, Mel, because I always say you don't earn a high five. You deserve it, and you need it. And you deserve it because you got out of bed. You deserve it because you walked down the hall to the bathroom. You deserve it because you're showing up another day. You deserve it because you have hopes and dreams. You deserve it because you're breathing. And he looked at me and he said, you know, Mel, you're making me think about the fact that if you think about birthdays, the one day a year you celebrate yourself, if you even allow yourself to do it, which so many people don't even like to celebrate their birthdays. They feel uncomfortable when people celebrate them. You're actually celebrating life. You're celebrating breath. And in a very beautiful way, that's really what you're doing every morning. And, you know, I wanted to say one more thing about work and careers. So I have this very unique kind of perspective, because I'm both in the individual personal development and self-help and empowerment space, just like you two are. And I'm also one of the most booked speakers on the corporate circuit. And so I've spent the last 6 years, I'm not kidding everybody, 51 speeches for JP Morgan Chase, 19 speeches for AT&T. Starbucks has had me do 3 trainings for 174 of their 1,000 employees. Whether I'm speaking in front of an audience of engineers, or people selling skincare, or in consumer products, or in pharmaceuticals, or in farming, or like, I have been in front of every industry. And you can think of, all around the world. And I raise that because what I've come to realize, especially with this experience with corporate audiences, is that we're all the same. We are. That feeling that you're talking about, of being able to think back to the high five and know you're okay. Like, every engineer wants to feel that. Every person that works in banking or in retail just wants to feel when they walk in the door like somebody's got their back, like they matter. That's it. And I think to your point, both of you said this, we put so much energy into trying to prove that we're smart or prove that we're worthy and prove that we're doing a good job and prove and not fail, that we've forgotten something super simple. That if you actually put all your energy in the other direction, which is to just put your energy into just being and to just doing what you need to do without proving anything and showing up and doing your best and supporting yourself and admitting when you make mistakes and picking yourself back up and being kind to yourself, life gets a hell of a lot easier.
So powerful. Yeah, I always say that, you know, in order to love yourself, you need to like yourself first. And I feel like
Oh my
people,
God, I love that.
the step of liking yourself before we love ourselves, when we always try and like love yourself, it's like, let's start small with liking yourself. And I think High Five Habit is perfect for that. This has been amazing as usual. Our episode today is live. It is so powerful. We talked about jealousy. We talked about High Five Habit. We talked about your relationship. We talked about your journey, and it was one of my favorites. So I'm really excited for you all to listen. I'm excited for you all to pre-order the book and get all of those amazing extras. Like, that is unreal. And then we will be sharing a link in our story for all of us to sign up to do the High Five Habit together in October. We're going to be doing it as a community. So it'll be so fun to see you all there. And Mel, just keep on keeping on. I'm so grateful we got to be with you. And I'm really, really excited that like everything, all the dots are connecting for you. You really deserve it.
Oh, well, you know what? I appreciate you saying that and thank you for saying that. And I have worked really hard, and so I'm going to accept that compliment.
Yeah.
I do deserve it. And more though, I actually do feel in my being that this is the right thing for the world right now. That everybody needs something that's free,
Mm-hmm.
that will literally help you turn the light back on inside yourself.
Should we all high five before we go?
Yes.
Okay.
High five, baby.
High five. Go to
High five, everyone. Bye.
All right.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.